What's going on, Dolphins fans? Jacob here, Miami Dolphins Syndicate. The Miami Dolphins beat the Jets in overtime, keeping the season alive. Tua with a game-winning drive in overtime. Jonnu Smith, 3 massive catches, all for first downs there. Game-winning touchdown in the back of the end zone to win the game for the Dolphins. That's a game that, no matter how this season turns out, that's a game to be proud of. That is a game that was not perfect. That was a game that was full of defensive lapses by the Miami Dolphins. Aaron Rodgers carved us up at will. I think it was 340 yards from him on the day. Really got whatever he wanted on offense without Breece Hall. The Jets were without Sauce Gardner on the other side. They didn't really get a lot of pressure on Tua, but certainly felt missing Sauce Gardner as Tyreek Hill had a big day, Jalen Waddle had a big day, and Jonnu Smith there in the end. But things were not perfect for the Dolphins. Not a good game by Jalen Ramsey. Just a secondary in general. Felt like Devontae Adams was open all game. Garrett Wilson had a decent game as well. And not a good game from the linebacker crew, who saw check down after check down go for about 5 to 10 yards by their running backs. Braylon Allen and a dude I had never heard of before. One of the other guy getting into the end zone. Defense for sure is still the Dolphins defense. Zach Zealer, big game, getting pressure. A big sack there on the Jets' last drive of the game. But to come through like that, to win a game like that, where so much has been said about this Dolphins team, about their inability to grit a game out, their inability to play tough. And usually when you say that, you mean winning between the trenches, out physicaling your opponent, imposing your will on your opponents. But instead, it was a marathon type game where it felt like the Dolphins were going to lose, if we're being honest, but in general, you weren't sure who was going to win. A game that could have gone either way, a few plays making the difference of how the outcome turns out. Dolphins usually lose those games against a veteran quarterback, a Hall of Fame quarterback, and Aaron Rodgers. These are the games that usually the Miami Dolphins end up losing, except this time. Big kickoff return from Malik Washington, setting the Dolphins up at the 40-something yard line. Tua, few completions, putting us in field goal range. Jason Sanders missed the first extra point of the game, came up huge there at the end, making a very long field goal to tie it, send it into overtime, and then Tua on that drive in overtime. Not perfect in the sense of there was no incompletions, but perfect execution by Tua. Started off by the first play of overtime, not taking a sack, getting out into the pocket, just throwing it out of bounds, setting up another opportunity, not taking a big loss, not taking a big hit. And then from there, I think he might have been perfect. Just connecting, orchestrating the offense as he can do so perfectly. Jonnu Smith, 0 catches in regulation. 1 target, which was dropped on like a little inside tight end screen. And at that moment when he dropped that ball, you really could feel the frustration of the game. I forgot to mention the start of this video. I'm currently in a Publix parking lot. Just dropped my mom off. I wanted to make a reaction in Dolphin Stadium, but it was pretty loud in there. I really don't know if I could have gathered my thoughts together, as it was electric. I was shaking at the end of the game. I doubted whether we were going to be able to do it because, as I mentioned, these are usually games the Dolphins drop. But no matter how this season goes, this is a game that you can look and be proud about as a Dolphins fan. This is where you saw the Miami Dolphins not crumble at the end, but were resilient, found a way to win. Mike McDaniel never changed up this offense, just consistent. You know what you're going to get from Mike McDaniel. You know what you're going to get from Tua. All the criticism on Mike McDaniel over the last 2-3 months of the season, but he's been consistent. This offense has been incredible. I have no blame to go to Mike McDaniel and Tua how this season ends up going. Defense, cross your fingers, looks extremely different next year as these guys who are 28, 29, 30, 31, 32 years old are just getting absolutely cooked. Few good plays by Kendall Fuller, but himself, Jalen Ramsey, Javon Holland dropping an interception, which really could have changed the tie of the game because I think the Jets ended up going down and scoring a touchdown after that. After the touchdown field goal, I know they scored after that. The defense, though, not good. And who knows what this season ends up being. Look, you keep the season alive with that win. You know you have to win out to make a chance at the playoffs. Does it happen? I don't know. If we're being honest, probably not. But regardless, when you've seen all that has happened in 2024 as a Miami Dolphins fan, when you've had to go through Tua's injury, when he comes back, dropping those first 2 games in heartbreaking fashion, 2 game-winning field goals by the Cardinals and the Bills. Then you have to go and watch on Thanksgiving. You're full of food. You've been with the family all day. You're a little bit tired if you didn't get a nap in, if you've been driving around like I was. Having to watch that Dolphins game against the Packers. So many low points this season. So many points of frustration as a Dolphins fan. You can put your feet up and enjoy what we just saw here today. Resilient effort against a really good Hall of Fame quarterback who's past his prime, yes, but real vintage performance by Aaron Rodgers dicing up the Dolphins defense. Good wide receivers in Garrett Wilson and Devontae Adams. A really good defense on the other side as well. And the Dolphins never gave up. They never quivered. It was not a beautiful performance, but a performance that was gritty, and they came through. Tua, game-winning drive. Mike McDaniel leads the offense. Perfect play calls there in overtime to let the Miami Dolphins just effortlessly march downfield. Best drive of the game. You save it for the very last drive of the game. Hats off, hats on, because hair is absolute mess right now. Giving these out for free at the game. Probably never going to wear this again. But hats off to Mike McDaniel and Tua and the offense. Defense got some stops. You know, how big of a play that was, getting Devontae Adams out of bounds, I believe it was by Kendall Fuller there, to force the field goal. Howard keep time on the clock for the Dolphins, and then Lake Washington, big return there. Man, this is one to be proud of as a Dolphins fan. There's been a lot of criticism of this team, of a lack of toughness, and a lack of grit, and games like this have so often fell the other way. This time, Miami Dolphins get it done. Let me know your thoughts on this game down below in the comments. The season's still alive for the Miami Dolphins. Let me know your thoughts on this game and the wild finish that we got to see down below in the comments. While down there, hit that like button, hit that sub button. Appreciate y'all very much for watching. Go Dolphins.